Star Citizen has a lot of ships and vehicles that are planned to be added to the game. So I wanted to talk about some ship updates that Cloud Imperium are working on and are looking to get into the game over the next few quarters, as well as some ship-related gameplay features that are also seeing development too. The Drake Corsair is now planned for release with Alpha 3.18. This highly anticipated asymmetrical no-frills multi-crew exploration ship is very popular and was a bit of a surprise to me that it was actually going to be ready for 3.18. I'm a little concerned that the ship might not have any suitable medical facilities for the type of exploration gameplay that I want to do, though that might have changed through its development. We'll have to wait and see. Or maybe it's supposed to be focused on more shorter range scanning, exploration, surveying, rather than sort of like long distance expeditions. You don't want all of the exploration ships to cover exactly the same types of exploration and be very similar to each other. You do want the character to be markedly different from the Corsair, from the Odyssey. Some other stuff that's also in known territory at the moment. We've got the Drake Vulture, that small light salvage ship that's coming with hull stripping, along with the Reclaimer getting hull stripping in 3.18 as well. We got to see a load of the internals of the Drake Vulture recently, which looks very cool, and a lot of the functionality of that hull stripping salvage. However, salvage will also be evolving from that too. Vehicle munching will be the next stage to salvage and the sort of direction of its gameplay, allowing for more types of salvage, salvaging larger chunks of a ship. That's getting work that will start in October and go into June 2023. So we could have something gameplay-wise with that Q2 2023. So this will give you the ability to transform large chunks of metal salvaged from ships into refinable material. This will use the grinder systems aboard salvage ships like the Vulture and Reclaimer. Again, something else sort of evolving the salvage mechanics, although not massively ship-related, is Tier 2 cutting. So that's planned to wrap up in May 2023, and that updates the cutting feature for the multi-tool so that it will be able to be used in different locations and missions, but the idea is also potentially that it will allow you to freeform cut on specific surfaces and probably remove components. So this will be used for like salvage and missions and looting. You can remove a weapon or whatever from a ship in its entirety, bam, take that back and sell it. We know that Cloud Imperium are working on some unannounced ships and vehicles, some of which will be unveiled between CitizenCon and the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. It's likely this will be a mixture of concept and straight-to-flyable ships too. In fact, there is a ship-focused panel at CitizenCon on the 8th of October, Talking Ship 2952, which is Star Citizen's annual presentation, with that panel being focusing on ship teams and sort of ship updates. Discover the latest vehicles throughout the pipeline, from concept to newly fireable, and a new twist to this year's voting on a new ship to come. So some cool stuff will be unveiled there. They talk a lot of ship stuff. We will cover that in its entirety once we have seen it. Cloud Imperium Games have also teased a new Argo ship, or it could be the Argo SRV. Either would make sense, actually. More Argo cargo and utility ships are going to be very useful, as obviously we've got the cargo refactor planned for 3.18. We know that Cloud Imperium have been working on ship-scale tractor beams and larger cargo containers, more physicalized cargo, lots and lots and lots of cargo gameplay. So getting the SRV in-game would be sensible as quickly as possible. It's more likely to be something in for like 3.19 or 4.0, as work is currently scheduled for the SRV that goes into February 2023, though they might have got it done sooner. Vehicle scale tractor beams, work on those currently is scheduled all the way into June 2023. But it's possible an early implementation might be tested before that. There's lots of ifs, buts, and maybes here, so bear that in mind. But yeah, it's more likely going to be a 3.19 thing or something for 4.0. I'm seeing all of those features turn up together. We also know that Cloud Imperium are very close to releasing the Hull C. Again, as the cargo refactor is a big part of 3.18, it makes sense that Cloud Imperium want to get that out with that patch or soon after. More likely, again, this is going to be a little bit later for 3.19 because it's currently got work scheduled going into December of this year. But when that mighty cargo ship comes into the game, it's going to be interesting to see how that affects prices for things, because obviously you're going to be able to hold such huge amounts of cargo that does that mean that you're not going to make profit on small cargo haulers, or is it sort of irrelevant because we don't have a dynamic economy yet? It'll be interesting to see how that sort of evolves with the new cargo gameplay and the cargo refactor as well. The Banu Merchantman is in active development currently. This is a massive floating marketplace of a ship and will eventually allow players to sort of turn up at a Banu Merchantman or NPCs and buy things from the shops there that you've set up. But a whole host of Cloud Imperium's teams are working on that at the moment. Work goes into June 2023 at the moment, and it looks like Cloud Imperium want to release the ship next year. So, last time they showed off the Merchantman, we saw the exterior from a less duck-faced angle, but we've also seen the interior of the ship, at least in sort of like grey and white box, social areas with a shrine room, a small hangar, cargo area, private meeting room, lift network, crew areas. It's such a massive ship. I'm glad it's getting the dedicated focus it deserves. The Origin X1 luxury hoverbike has been getting some love, and various teams are working on that again into June 2023. It shouldn't be too hard to get in game. We already have a few other hover vehicles and bikes. It's small. Origin has a pretty developed pipeline. Talking about luxury, do you want a luxury version of the Urza rover? Well, the Lynx has work planned on it, ending February 2023. Again, I think it's probably relatively easy to get the Lynx in game. I think that they're probably able to get that in sort of early Q1 of next year. The Ayapoa Santok Yai, or the Xi'an medium fighter, is getting some work starting January 2023 from the US vehicle content team. That goes into June. This looks to me like Cloud Imperium again want to get the ship out at some point in 2023, maybe Q2, Q3. Again, once Cloud Imperium work on a ship, they now like to try and schedule the time to get all the way through the pipeline where possible. And that's not always the case. Sometimes they do a concept phase, then come back to it. And obviously, sometimes they have to reprioritize things halfway through a ship's development. So that does happen. It just happens less now. If you see what I mean, they do try and get a ship through all the way to completion where possible and sensible. The Anvil Crucible, the repair ship, looks like it's getting a concept update that could potentially then see other teams start working on it and go through the pipeline all the way to completion as well. That concept work starts October and goes into February 2023, but there would be then a whole host of other work from multiple teams before it would be complete, and those teams haven't been scheduled yet, so sort of bear that in mind. But as there is repairing by hand now in 3.18 with the salvage and IMC, the recycled materials composite, having the Crucible in-game being able to do that on a larger scale in its first implementation sort of makes sense to me. A hugely exciting set of features for ships, and well, some other stuff as well, is the resource management system. That will make damage control, physical components, physical damage, disabling ships, engineering, and multi-crew gameplay more of a reality. We know that Cloud Imperium have started to prototype this on the Hammerhead already, and it's actively being worked on again going into June 2023. I believe that Cloud Imperium wanted it on our hands in 2023, and it's going to be one of the most important milestone features to date. I'll read you the actual feature description here too. This system will handle resources for stations, settlements, cities, and all other locations. It will also unlock engineering station gameplay for ships, letting players manage power, CPU, fuel, shields, coolant, etc. I think one of the things that first attracted me to Star Citizen was the idea of these huge ships with players having to work together, doing these engineering tasks, having like different multi-crew stations, controlling the turrets, but also doing the damage control and putting out fires. And yeah, this allows for a huge amount of that to actually become a reality. Ship CPU is in active development too, with work ending December this year. This is implementing computer blades for ships and includes various blades that can be used to modify or improve certain aspects of the ship's functionality, such as unlocking more complex targeting abilities. You want AI crew and NPCs? Well, this is a good step towards that and an alternative to it, as some of those functionalities will be to automate turrets. This will make a huge difference to the game if you could have one person in a hammerhead and a load of the turrets also still firing, for example. Life Support Tier 0 is currently in development as well, with its work currently expected to wrap up at the end of Q2 2023. This will focus on a ship component that generates air when turned on, and management of said life support component within the vehicle loadout manager. This makes use of the room system and survival mechanics to basically have an appropriate atmosphere in areas that you'd like to breathe in. But it will also have sort of maximum amounts of people that can be supported by life support systems and things like that, because it's only able to produce a certain amount of oxygen and atmosphere for a room. And if these systems get damaged, you're probably going to want to give them a priority in getting repaired, or at least scramble to get flight suits on. One of the other things is interesting about Star Citizen is how are they going to incentivize us to not wear flight suits and helmets constantly, especially when we're on ships, because obviously there's a risk that you might run out of life support, or there might be a breach, or a door might get opened that you don't want and you suffocate. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is resolved in the future too. Artificial Gravity has just started a work sprint that ends again in June 2023. Dedicated functionality for items controlling the gravity per room for ships, outposts, and stations. This also includes player controls as part of engineering gameplay. That's going to make shipboarding and traversal very interesting, especially if you just turn off the power, or the sort of that component gets damaged. So gravity generators that get damaged or destroyed when you're sort of running around, that's going to be crazy. Something I do want to mention as well is that there is a map and radar rework sprint that's just finished according to the progress tracker, so we might be seeing some much needed updates to those systems soon. There is currently more work on ship derelicts and settlements that goes into December of this year. That could be Cloud Imperium making more 600 iron Mercury Star Runner sites around the verse, or adding ships to the derelicts that appear. Could just be them adding more. Expect some surprises at CitizenCon and the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, as well as the 3.18 and 3.19 patches too, as Cloud Imperium do like to release straight flyable ships and vehicles, because they can with those sort of patches and events. What do you think we could see here? We do know there's a load of unannounced features and vehicles at the moment that Cloud Imperium have been working on. You know what I've got? I've got eyes, and if I want more control in Star Citizen and some precise head tracking, maybe I'll use the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. You should check out the links below. It's natively supported in Star Citizen, and you can use the code BoredGamer for discount on that fantastic product. Boom, that's it for today and the ship update and that Tobii Eye Tracker shilling. There is a lot of important ships and features coming out pretty soon, but what do you think? What are you most looking forward to being added to the game? What gameplay and roles are you wanting to do in-game? Will the resource management system lead straight onto physical components, do you think, or is that going to still be quite a way off? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I'm Nord Catcham, and it's my mission to become a Nord Master. Oh no, it's Team Hacksaw! Hacksaw uses trackers and blocks your ability to go on websites like Netflix and watch the content that you want to on Netflix? ? Go NordyChew! NordyChew uses nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. It is super effective. He beats Team Hacksaws and he becomes a NordVPN master, a Nordymon master. Fortunately, with NordVPN, you don't need to catch them all. You just need to get a subscription from nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. Links below. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for September, we're giving away 3 ships, 1 each, to 3 different lucky winners. The Origin 100I, the 125A, and the 135C. Any of these solid starter ships will allow you just to jump into Star Citizen and play right away. All you need to do is comment on any of my videos made during the month to be in for a chance of winning one of those. More details in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to further support the channel, consider using the join button under my videos or becoming a Patreon. Either way, you'll get access to some exclusive content and have more of a voice in shaping the channel. A huge thank you to anyone that already does that. You are amazing. I love you. Zin also is contractually obliged to love you. There is a link for donations and all that jazz in the description below as well if that is your preferred medium. It is super appreciated, genuinely. Once again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.